Yo, what's good, YouTubes? This is your boy in the NYC. It's me, Ray, and this is the EDCCP. That is the Everyday City Carry podcast. Already off to a good start because I looked at the audio to see if it was recording. That's not what we're talking about here today. We're going to talk about the Nitch Designs Ingress. Okay, I've got Nick from Nitch Designs, designer of this awesome knife, as the guest. But before that, I'm going to do a little bit of community posts, which everyone enjoys in the solo pods, because I think next week we're going to start the Patreon, bro. All right, gonna be giving away these stickers to the Patreon members. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have tears or not. I don't mean tears like crying. I mean like levels. I'm gonna do it like the way the comedians do it. I'm gonna do an extra hour-long podcast about me covering a lot of the topics that I don't discuss on this main podcast, and I'm gonna do it solo. Maybe I'll have Kelly on sometimes. Maybe I'll have guests on sometimes. I have a lot of ideas, and I'm gonna film the first one on Sunday. And I asked around, and a lot of people are into that, man. And yeah, for supporting the channel, which you guys already freaking do, sending me all the knives and stuff, and you guys always want to help me out. This would be a good way for me to keep pumping out more content. You guys get more. And you know, hey man, if this becomes the thing, I will do this literally every single day. I plan to get more community interaction too. I think that is one of the things that you guys enjoy the most. But you know what? Let us get to the interview, or to the hang rather. I don't think I interview people really on the podcast. Just kind of hang out with them. And I get really sauced in this one. You know, I'm looking at myself as I'm editing and I'm like, I am really drunk here. You know what I mean? I'm just asking questions like, how did you decide the tent? You know, I'm trying to word things and I'm laughing a lot. Nick is a really cool guy, and so cool that I drank 3 glasses of whiskey on the pod. But without further delay, here's Nick from Nitch Designs. What's going on, everybody? We've got Nick from Nitch Designs. I'm very excited about this episode. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, so I'm just starting my own knife design company called Nitch Designs. Coming out with my first model called the Ingress, which is live on Kickstarter right now. You can go check it out. It's a really cool Warncliffe design, just designed to be a great box cutter. Hey, there you go. Been in the community for a few years, just kind of on the Instagram scene, posting pictures, collecting knives for a while, and now just trying to get into design.
You know, how old are you, dude?
25.
Oh man, dude, I was like, man, this guy looks young. You know, people think I look young, right? As there's not a lot of Asians that get on camera in the knife YouTube scene. So when they see me, they're like, holy crap, you're like 40 years old, you know, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm just a normal Asian. That's just what happens.
I think that's a saying, right? Asian don't raisin.
Yeah, there you go, bro. So how long have you been in the knife scene? Like, have you been collecting since you were young? I haven't had that experience of like growing up, you know, carrying, being into EDC gear like a lot of the people that have a knife YouTube right now. I got into it like maybe 4 years ago. So okay. How long have you been in it?
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't really grow up with knives either, and I feel like a lot of people in the community, especially a lot of knife makers, they tell their stories like their grandfather gave them their first knife when they were like 4 or something, right? But I think I got my first knife when I was maybe 14. It was just like a white elephant gift exchange thing. It was like a cheap Gerber, but I ended up carrying that thing a lot, and it surprised me at the time, I guess, how just useful it was and how natural it felt to kind of carry a knife. But really, I didn't start, you know, getting heavy into collecting until I was in college. I think it was about 2017. Even after college, starting to, you know, make money off of a real job, starting to buy more knives, having that income was definitely helpful. But I think I've been on Instagram since early 2017 was when I kind of heavily started collecting.
Nice, man. That's awesome. You know, I was watching a little bit of one of the IG lives that you did on your main page, right, on Instagram. And I was like, I am so happy to see like a younger person that's like into the hobby, that's designing a knife, starting his own design company, that kind of knows a little bit about social media, you know, because you're younger, you're playing that world. And like, that is my whole thing. Like, I study that. Like, I'm not a
Yeah.
big YouTuber or whatever, but I'm on all the platforms, dude. I am like trying to plant a base in each thing and not looking at the numbers. And, you know, I just love doing it. Like, I had one guest on Patty's Potato Peelers, this dude from Ireland who's like a 60-something-year-old, like old, like Navy veteran from Ireland. And he was like, he's seen my channel grow from the first day until now. We've always remained friends. And he's like, I think that if you weren't in the knife community, you'd be making content for something else. And then, you know, he's right, man. But I just love talking about gear, dude. That's just my thing, you know? It's so weird that I
Nice.
live in New York City, right?
Yeah, of all places, that's probably not the best one, but
Yeah, you know what's crazy is I was looking at the Ingress before you got on, and I'm like, this is a palm ready, like New York City legal knife, but since it's so like robust looking, I would still get a lot of shit for it if I were to be frisked. You know what I mean? That's just New York City though. That's not your fault. You know what I'm saying? Nick, are you there? Nick. You know, one cool thing that I saw was my buddy BakpakB is reviewing your knife, right? Did you guys talk? How did you find
yeah.
out about him?
So somebody had actually posted, I think, in their stories just something about his channel, and I had
Gotta be
not
me.
heard it before. Yeah, I forget exactly who it was, but as soon as I started like going through his page on Instagram and kind of checking out his channel, it was like immediately obvious that he had some serious, you know, video graphics experience. I think I read somewhere that he has like won a couple of Emmys for motion graphic design for
I didn't
working in
even know that. And like, I have had him on the podcast. We didn't talk about that. He's a super humble dude. And
Yeah,
I
he seems.
saw his work and I was like, this guy is the future. You know what I mean? Like, being a casual knife guy, I'm a filthy casual in pretty much everything, right? I do love knives, but I'm into a bunch of stuff. I like to be I like videos that like Advanced Knife Bro or Cedric and Ada Gear and Outdoors, kind of more on the funny, humorous side. Advanced Knife Bro I love because of how he sets up his shots. It's very cinematic. He's
Oh
got the
yeah,
close shots, the wide angles, like everything, right? BakpakB is just I've never seen production at this level for someone who's doing it by themselves, like on a knife review. It's crazy. So I was talking about BakpakB and I was excited that you know, you sent something to him. How did that conversation come about? Maybe you saw my stories or someone else's, and then you just hit him up like on Instagram?
Yeah, so I saw somebody's story and I basically just shot him a message on Instagram. I knew he didn't, you know, he's kind of starting his channel, so he's still relatively small right now, but just for the sheer quality of the content, I knew that I wanted to like get his kind of take on it, try and see what he would do with the footage and with the, you know, motion graphics and everything. So really, I just shot him a message out of the blue, and he was a super cool guy to talk to, super nice, and I'm looking forward to the review. I think it's going to drop next week sometime.
Yes, yes. You know, he's an East Coast dude. He's from New Jersey, and he's super humble. I didn't even know about that Emmy thing. That's freaking crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
What's nuts is like I think that any knife company who would send them even a sample knife or a free knife would be lucky to get a video of that quality, which they can reuse on multiple platforms, because everyone will be impressed by something like that.
Yeah,
Especially in the knife community. When I first got on the scene, I was kind of making like sketch reviews almost. My first video, I dressed up like a ninja. I was Iron Man. I was running around the city, and it was a review about the ZT-0456.
okay.
And people loved it because there was, you know, there was like a little bit of cinematography in it, but it was like so different. And people were like, you know, telling me like, oh man, you're making all these like cinematic videos. And in my head, I've been watching guys like Peter McKinnon, Daniel Schiffer on YouTube, these cinematographers. And I'm like, you guys have no idea what's out there.
Yeah,
BakpakB has finally arrived, and now they're gonna know there are these monsters. I've been saying this. There are these monsters on YouTube that, you know, some of them are into gear a little bit. Like some of these photographers are into gear a little bit, but not. There hasn't been a reviewer that's like that. That's just pumping out content like that. I think BakpakB is gonna be the first.
Yeah, I mean, generally that's just a trend that's been going on, I think, recently. I mean, like I said, I've only really been on Instagram for knives since like 2017, but it's really just been a recent thing with like this influx of designers and like Peter McKinnon and kind of his whole pirate gang of people that are like professional photographers on
Yeah.
Instagram. It's been really recent that we're getting a lot of people with a lot of prior experience to design or videography, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that back to BakpakB, it's like get him while he's small, man. Because I think that dude is just gonna, like in a shorter time than most think. And I'm glad you sent him something, man. Now let's talk about the Ingress a little bit, right? That's what we're here for. I've been I'm so stupid. I did an unboxing video of this, and I like messed up and deleted the footage. I always do like a triple camera thing, and the main camera, I deleted that footage. That's why I didn't get to unbox it, and I was promoting the knife heavily. When I got this in my hands, I was, judging from the pictures, I was expecting this to be like a beefy bruiser type, like ZT, overweight, overbuilt. It looks like that, but when I got it in my hand, I was like, wow, this is so much lighter than you thought it would be. I know the weight is 4.4 ounces, right? It doesn't even feel like that, dude. Like when I hold it, it's so comfortable. I used it to cut some boxes at work, and I'm like, this is just perfect for me. You know what I mean? Someone looking for this blade geometry, this blade length. I think some people, like there was one dude on my Instagram, he's always pretty harsh though. He's like, oh, I have no interest in that. But I think if you get this in your hands, it's very easy to be convinced that this is like an amazing knife. The ergonomics, the action, the weight, just everything was well thought out. And that's all detailed in your website, man. Like, how long did it take you to write all that down? Did you write it yourself? Did you have a copywriter? Like,
No, yeah. So all of the website stuff, the web design, basically just built up from scratch, just using like a WordPress template, doing all the copywriting. It's really just me trying to do all that stuff, which is, I guess, fortunate. I just have a general interest in like web design and that kind of stuff. But it did take a while just to write it all out. I mean, the prototyping process alone was about 2 years just to get all the refinements, reducing the weight as much as possible, getting the geometry right, all of that. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I was reading through that today at work, right? Because I was like, all right, I better brush up on this stuff. And I was like, dude, first of all, like, I don't even read comic books, and I'm a comic book nerd. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just catch up on YouTube clips where people dissect the series that I like. So for me to read that much, like, it must have been really good, because I read the whole thing, and it felt like some kind of blog from the late 2000s, where like someone would just, dialogue the entire journey, which I really, really loved, man. I think it's a good selling point for the knife. You can tell the passion behind it. And like, I'm so glad you ditched the flipper, bro. Because like when I first saw that, I was like, geez.
Yeah, it was pretty big on the first prototype.
That was so crazy. How did you decide to use We? Did you shop around to other people?
Yeah, so this was way back in, I think, March of 2018. I had just finished the design in CAD, and I was trying to kind of shop around for some different companies. And I didn't really know anything about the OEM process. I was still learning basically all of that. So I did reach out to some American companies, along with some of the other Chinese companies overseas. And We just happened to be one that I know other people that have worked with them that have had really good experiences, and the communication with them just went really easily. And obviously, they're also very competitively priced. So it just kind of won out as the best option after kind of weighing a few different companies.
Yeah, man, I love We. I feel like I don't have enough. I remember when they first came on the scene, I wasn't doing YouTube yet. And they were, I remember they weren't using torque screws yet. They were using the star shape things, and all the reviewers from back then, I don't even know if they're doing it now, they were like, look at this weird thing, but then they were like amazed at the quality and the price of it. Even Nick Shabazz, I think he handled his first We at Blade HQ when he went to visit there. They didn't even know who he was at the time, and he was like, holy cow, this is like like I have to buy like a few of these. So Yeah, I mean, the knife looks great. The Kickstarter is going on right now. How long is it available?
Yeah, so the Kickstarter is for another 3 weeks.
Okay.
So just a little bit more time. I have some more content and stuff coming out, this podcast, obviously, and then I'm doing
Yeah.
some more stuff with the Knife Junkie later on, which will be really
Yes.
fun.
Yes. I love Bob, man. Bob is
It's really cool.
awesome. Yeah. Are you, which one is it? Are you doing a Thursday night or?
Yeah, I think I might hop on it live. I think the knives are just shipping out to him right now, but I'm pretty excited to kind of hear his opinion. I think it might be something that kind of falls right up his alley.
I think he'll like it, man.
Yeah.
I think there's just a cool factor about it. You know what I'm saying? This is like the Tesla Cybertruck, but it's dope. You know what I mean? That's how I felt. Like when I saw it. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to ask actually. So I know that Eugene Kwan like reviewed this thing,
Yeah.
and Russell from Artisan Cutlery, who I just did a podcast with 2 nights ago, knows you too. He met you at SHOT Show or?
It was at G11, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys like all know each other? You guys are all from Cali. Do you guys meet up or something? Is there some kind of Asian connection? Because I don't have anybody like that here, bro.
It's definitely nothing like that. I just knew about Artisan, and I knew Dylan was working with them on a bunch of designs, and I've kind of talked with him and Russell at G11, which was pretty cool. They're both super nice, and I'm trying to kind of talk with them a little bit to see if there might be some collaboration on designs maybe in the future. Should be exciting, but.
Yeah, Russell, that dude can talk, man. I gotta tell you, that dude can talk to me for like 3 hours. I had to cut it short. He's awesome. I love him. I'm definitely gonna have him on again. Maybe that's something that I'll do. My audience really likes sort of a roundtable experience now. I did a 3-man podcast with Dylan Mallory and Daily Carry Solutions. Maybe I'll have like 3 designers and then we can all like chat about different things, which would be cool. You know, like you cross-contact. That's what I want the podcast to be. It's like cross-contamination of people, subscribers and viewers, and we all grow together. I keep promoting this. It is a model that works. Joe Rogan does it all the time, and it just works. And I don't know why there are personalities in the knife community. Like, why can't we do it? You know what I mean? So that's what I'm using this for. Back to the Ingress, what was the most difficult thing that you had to deal with when it came to maybe designing or coming up with the final design of this? Like, what was the biggest hurdle that you had?
Probably just fitting that blade into that handle. Like, I'm fully aware that it's an enormous blade proportionately, but I was pretty dead set on the geometry that I wanted for the end product, just to have the slicing ability for boxes, basically. So kind of finagling with the internals. I had to move the stop pin around and change some things just to be able to fit the blade into the handle so it's not taking up as much space in your pocket as possible. But that was definitely the tricky part.
Dude, you just nailed it, man. And what's the Kickstarter price right now so people can know?
Yeah, so there's 2 models. There's the satin blade finish, which is the one that you have. That one is going for $195, and then there's going to be a stonewash version for $190.
Wow. Yeah, we got to talk later because I definitely want to pick one up. But we'll work something. I don't want to pay less, but we'll do something. All right, because I'm a poor boy from a poor family. I'm a third world Asian. I'm not a first world one. You know what I'm saying? But this is something I definitely want to have, man. I just like really odd stuff, but with good materials. You know what I mean? That is my favorite. And I am an ergos action and aesthetic snob. That's like me. That's how I judge my knives. I cut cardboard. I'm not out there cutting telephone wires in Central Park. There's nothing to do here in New York City. I cut cardboard and I flip my knives open all day. That's basically why I'm into it. One of the best things about having a channel is people send me stuff. I get to see what the next thing feels like, and then I send it back, or I get to keep it. And this is, dude, I can't believe this, man. What other things are you into, buddy? Like, is there anything that what do you do aside from the knife hobby? Like, what are you into?
I mean, I'm still working full time, so knives is really just a side hobby for me.
What other hobbies do you have? Like, if you don't mind talking about them, you game or anything? Shows?
Definitely a lot of Netflix lately, having been trapped inside for the past few months.
What's your thing? Like, what do you like watching?
Generally a lot of comedies.
Yeah.
I think the most recent thing I watched was like an improv thing on Netflix, Middleditch and Schwartz. I don't know if you're
Okay.
like
Okay.
comedy, improv and stuff like that, but
I like stand up. I like comedy. I like really dark, offensive humor. That kind of like I've said this before. My favorite comedian is Tim Dillon. He's like an overweight, fat white guy who's gay. So he gets away with a ton of shit. He makes fun of the left. He makes fun of the right. He makes fun of Trump. He makes fun of Biden. And it's like his political commentary is so hilarious. Like he'll
nice.
start his podcast like, yeah, they're sacrificing children in the forest. You know what I mean? Like that's the and that makes me laugh. I don't know if I've just gotten darker as I've gotten older, but it's just funny to me. I think there's both, there's humor to be found in both sides. And that's really how I've gotten through everything. Like the whole quarantine, I'm in New York City, like the whole riots, protesting. I'm all for the protesting and maybe even for the rioting. I'm not in the looting, but, you know, and that's watching these comedians break down the current events. It's like what's helped me kind of like process everything. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
How's the quarantine life been treating you, by the way?
it's been okay. I'm still, I don't know, trying to keep busy. I mean, another hobby that I kind of just picked up this year really was dealing with a lot of houseplants, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, my girl is super into like succulents, bro. I've got like UV lights and all this stuff.
Oh, dang, yeah, I'm curious.
What's cool about that is like I get to do like the lights make good ambiance for like TikToks like that I make with my cats.
Nice, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, what kind of stuff do you buy or you grow right now?
Yeah, this was mostly before like everything kind of started shutting down, but my girlfriend and I would like to go to different plant shops, kind of going on road trips and stuff to look for like specialty plants and stuff. But
Nice, dude.
we built up a good collection of things at this point. So just like keeping them watered and taking care of them has kind of taken up a lot of time at this point.
Wow, that's cool, man. You know, like what's the last thing you watched? Oh yeah, you said the improv thing.
Yeah.
What else are you into? What else do you check out? You watch like Tiger King and shit like that?
Oh my God, yeah. I think I
Yeah.
did that in a single day. That was pretty
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, I watched that. I was laughing so hard, man. I can't believe it. That came out at the perfect time too, I think. You know, where like the world was just confined and they just needed to see these outrageous people do all this crazy shit.
Yeah. No, that documentary is pretty amazing. Yeah.
Do you think she did it?
Oh my God. I think there was a lot of like dramatization within the
Yeah.
documentary, but
Yep.
it's pretty shady, all this stuff that was going on for sure. I don't know. It's hard to say.
They were like, you know, I remember I was in I work in a CBD shop. Shout out to Illy CBD. My family owns it. Thanks. So like I was in my CBD shop and people were talking about the documentary. She was like, yeah, she fed her husband to the tigers. And I was like, no, man, she ate her husband. Okay, that's why they can't find proof.
All right. A little dark.
A little dark. Is it too much, dude? Because like that's how I am, you know.
I think the one I watched after that was it Don't Fuck with Cats? I don't know if you've seen that.
Yes, of course I have. Of course I have. I love all that stuff. My girl, we actually have 2 cats here. I have 2 rag dolls, which are like the fluffiest, most huggable cats like ever, right? They basically just go limp when you pick them up. So we have 2 of those. And I was listening to a podcast, The Fighter and the Kid. Brendan Schaub was like, hey, man, Don't Fuck with Cats is like really dark and shit. You should watch it. So I checked it out and like, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you game or anything? Do you play any video games?
Not for a while. I mean, back when I was college, I played way too much League of Legends at the time, but not since.
Dude, you know what's crazy? I'm gonna tell you a crazy League of Legends story right now. So the guy that I told you about, his name is Guy, by the way.
Okay.
He's Italian. His name is Guy. He worked for Riot Games. He was like a headhunter type. Like, let's say you went to a job interview and then there's a guy that decided whether you get the job or not. Not like, you know, the manager or whatever, the GM or anything. He was just like that headhunter kind of person. And he told me, he was like, hey, I'm going to move to California to join this company, Riot Games. And they weren't even big yet, bro. That's how he got his start in the video game industry. And he got me a gig at PAX East Boston. I used to be a DJ. I don't know if you know this. I was DJing for 10 years. I spun at EDC. I did it like professionally. He got me a gig spinning at PAX East, and like I was pretty like I got into League because of him.
Okay.
And then he had me play League in front of like 300 people, bro.
Yeah.
And I was like so nervous, and it was like what do you call that when you select a character at random? It's like a certain map. Aram? Is it Aram?
Aram is a type of gameplay, but yeah, there's a few different maps for that.
It's random, right? Like the selection of the characters. So I got a Mumu, and I like never use him. But we won, yo, and I was like so happy. That's
Nice.
so crazy.
Yeah, no, League people will tear you up if you do anything wrong, pretty much.
Yeah. Did you get far into it? Like, were you ranked and shit, or?
Yeah, I mean, me and a few buddies were doing like the whole ranking. I think this was back in like season 3, though. It was pretty early on.
Yeah, it's so crazy, man. Like my relationship with video games, I started talking about games more on this channel. Nick Shabazz like streams on Twitch now.
Yeah, I saw he was playing, what was it?
Skyrim today. He was playing Skyrim today. The other time he was playing Diablo 3, and he would answer like questions from his subscribers about knife stuff while he's playing.
Yeah,
which is like absolutely brilliant, you know? And I was like, you know, I would probably do the same thing, man. Do you have any plans on creating content yourself for your business?
I mean, not so much aside from Instagram. I mean, trying to keep up with posting that, but I also have a blog on my website that I'm trying to plan some future content for. A lot of it's just kind of consolidating information, specifically for, you know, people new to the community, just to try and make it easy for people to learn more about knives, because that's kind of what I was about when I was starting out.
You know what? The way you told that story about how you designed and the pains that you went through to get this, you know, manufactured. It's very easy to digest. Like I was saying, like I never read anything, bro. Like anytime someone is like, you have to read this book, I'm like, fuck, how much is the audiobook? You know what I mean? Like that's just how I do it. And I read that whole thing and I was like, man, this guy is really passionate about this. And I think that translates to the reader.
Nice.
So I think you should just keep it up, man. You know, I'm really excited to see like what you come up with next. That's what I got after I finished reading the whole thing. What other knives are you into aside from the Ingress? Like what company is your favorite? You know, everyone's got a thing that they like.
No, yeah. For a good while, I mean, I probably collected the most of Ferrum Forge knives. I don't know if you know them.
Yeah, of course, dude.
Yeah.
Of course. I just
done a lot for production knives lately, but
I got to a buddy of mine, Mild Mannered EDC, sent me the Ferrum Forge exec.
Oh, nice.
And BakpakB actually gave me a mini Archbishop Ferrum Forge because it was like $60. He's like, dude, I got this for you. Thanks for having me on the podcast. And I'm like, you don't have to give me anything. Like, you know, but it was cool. Yeah, they're really, really good, man.
Yeah. They're just based out of San Diego. So just kind of throughout the past few years, I've been like down there just to go visit them and kind of meet up with them a bunch. Elliot's been nice enough to kind of help me with some design questions, working with OEMs and just that process. So I'm kind of indebted to them to some degree too.
Wow, dude, that's amazing. So you have these two. First of all, you know what? What's the difference between these two? Like, what is the difference?
So
you have two models going around in the Apex pass around right now.
Yeah, so the one on the bottom right now, or that's the one logo on the blade. Yep. So that's actually the 2nd generation prototype. The other one is the final production version. So that's going to be the version that people are able to buy through the Kickstarter that's live right now. But basically, I just thought it'd be interesting for reviewers to kind of see some of the progression of the design. There's some changes that I made to improve the ergonomics and improve the weight. I don't know. I feel like that's part of what was interesting to me was just the learning process, which is kind of why I made that whole, post on my site in the first place, was just kind of share that information and then trying to send that out to reviewers.
Dude, the difference in weight is crazy. Like it feels like this is so much heavier
Yeah,
And
it's maybe less than half an ounce, I think.
it's crazy. Like I'm like, oh, in my video, I was like, I definitely like this one more. I think that was in the unboxing video. I'm definitely gonna do something special for that before I send it to the next person.
Nice.
It takes me so long to edit a video. Like I shoot everything and edit everything on my phone. The only thing I don't do on my phone is the audio, right? I do it on this tablet that I'm using right now. Then I import it into the phone, and I'm literally like this. And then my girl is just like, I should just film you so people can see the madness that happens. Cause I'm like not eating. I'm just like going like this, you know? But I definitely want to do something special for them. And it's really cool. I repped it on the TikTok, bro.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Who's doing that for you, buddy?
Definitely. Yeah. First time I think that'll be on TikTok.
Are you like, what other social media platforms are you on personally? Like not just knife stuff. Are you on anything? Or are you just on Instagram? And
I feel like Instagram is definitely the primary one. Facebook has really died off, and I've never really got into like TikTok and stuff so much,
Yeah.
but I feel like just the time it takes to keep up with knife stuff on Instagram is more than enough.
I here's the thing, right? Like Nick Shabazz said this to me, and I don't know if you've heard me say this. I'm sure my audience is like, oh, here he goes again. He's gonna fucking talk about it. Like Nick Shabazz is like, look, I think that it's wise to explore other platforms because, you know, YouTube is already kind of like not liking us, like the firearm kind of like knife community. And it only takes like Sony saying like, hey, that crazy like knife nut did something and our ad was placed in his video and it got like millions of views. Like if you don't take all of these guys down, like we're out. And YouTube is going to pick Sony. You know what I'm saying? So it only takes that much. With Joe Rogan moving to Spotify in September 1st, he's no longer going to be on YouTube. It's kind of just smart to be on multiple platforms. And I see EDC, gun people, knife people on TikTok. Our videos get community guideline violations, so you have to be creative with it. If you do like a BakpakB video, you're going to be fine on TikTok. They're not going to take that down. They want you to be, you can't just go like this and just say like, hey, this is a Nitch Designs Ingress. You can't do that. They're just going to take it down right away. So you saw I had to do the pictures, and I'm not that awesome at it, but you know, that still generated some views. And I think that TikTok is an emerging platform. I really do. It's not just, you know, thirst trap like chicks like doing dances or crazy stuff. There's so many talented musicians on it, painters, people that draw, animators are crazy. Like, and I think that it's definitely taking a lot of attention. More and more, I see people on a piece of on a social media platform say, "Hey, I have a TikTok now," like thinking it's the cringy thing, but it's gonna get so big in 3 years that I think everyone is gonna be on it, just like Instagram. So, you know, just something to think about, to just have. The process that you're using, the process that you have for designing or maybe making a blog post on your website could be like a video already. There are people that just talk about their day and like kind of edit it in a way that it's entertaining within 1 minute. And you could do that like, hey man, I was working on the detent system of this today and it was a lot of trouble. I hit up WeKnives and then we went back and forth by email. And then after that I had a shake. Like, dude, there's people that do that on TikTok that have millions of followers. Yeah. And that is just leverage for you. That's free advertising, you know? Yeah, it's weird. I know I'm doing the Gary V shit. Like that's watched a lot of Gary Vee.
I don't think it was that long ago. There was some other kind of social media platform that came along. Everybody was posting that they were like creating their accounts and trying to follow each other. But it is kind of a big problem. I know Instagram's been like banning certain hashtags that are in the knife community, and it's a little worrisome for sure.
And the reach is weird, right?
For what?
For Instagram, like, you know, you're not reaching the people that follow you for sure. You're reaching a
there's
fraction.
definitely some weird stuff I think going on with the algorithm, and it definitely makes it difficult for the knife community to kind of stay in touch with each other. So it's a good idea to kind of diversify in that way.
Well, man, I'm gonna try to pave the way, buddy. I'm gonna try to pave the way so that we will all have we will all have a base. I even post on Twitter, man. It's so weird. I post
Nice.
I kind of like dissect the knife in a minute and post on there every day. I just call it daily knife content.
Okay.
So, you know, how can people find you, by the way? Like, what other, you have your Instagram. What is it, at Nitch Designs?
Yeah, Nitch Designs, NITCH_DSGNS. And then nichedesigns.online is just for my website. You can find all the information about the development process for the Ingress, and then also that blog post for just places to interact with the knife community.
I saw that you had other packages on your website. You know, I was saying this, that, you know, people should just help you out in every way that they can so you can meet your goal on Kickstarter. Like, because they're like packages where you can just get the stickers and the pins. And the pins are super dope, dude. Like, look at this. That's a nice touch.
Definitely.
That's so cool.
I don't think I've seen very many people actually do the pins. It took me like a few weeks, I think, just to learn Illustrator and figure out all the SVG stuff to work with. It's like a whole nother process, actually, because you're working with another overseas OEM just to get a pin of the knife that you're working with overseas OEM for. But it came out really nice, and all the ingresses are going to ship with a pin. You can also just back the project for, I think it's like $25, and you'll get a pin too. So there's a lot of different options.
Yeah. Is there any like knife designers that you really like right now that you would love to collaborate with?
I mean, I feel like collaborating is hard, just to find people whose kind of design languages mesh really well. But one designer that I'm always kind of watching, I feel like, is JVO Design. I don't know if you've...
I got to look him up. JVO Design?
Yeah. So what's interesting about him is that he actually does collaborations with a lot of different makers. And you wouldn't necessarily know it because the way that he designs them is just so personal to that maker's style that it basically just looks like a cleaned up design of, you know, a new model for that maker. So that's something kind of what I strive to do, is just to be able to be really flexible in my own design language and just being able to do different designs after kind of whatever is trending at the moment, for instance.
Yeah. Are you working on anything right now that's like top secret? You don't have to show it. I mean, I'm just asking if there are, you know, things that you're thinking about already, or are you just focused on the Ingress right now?
No, yeah. I mean, like I said, the Ingress was pretty much done in 2018. There was like revisions throughout the process, but even at that time, and I don't think I've actually said this before, but the Ingress was basically part of a triplet of designs. So it was kind of a hat trick that I did at the time, where all the designs have different blade shapes, they're different sizes, with different opening mechanisms. And I was trying to get them all manufactured kind of around the same time, but it's, you know, difficult timing wise with other companies. And then now with COVID, it's kind of getting more difficult to talk with a lot of these companies. But I will say there's one design that was within that triplet of knives that's kind of in the works. Hopefully we see that coming either by the end of this year or maybe early next year. And then I'm also working on kind of another triplet that's should be really interesting too right now. Definitely more modern designs, a little more sleek than this kind of like the Cybertruck looking design.
Hey man, you know I said that, but I love the design.
I mean, that's definitely part of it. I mean, it just has a lot of really straight lines. That was just a very simple kind of thing that I was doing at the time.
I think when people see it, they think that it's going to be this uncomfortable thing that's not going to cut through anything, right? It's the exact opposite of that. It feels really good in the hand, and it slices through. I mean, at least for me, like I only cut cardboard, so I'm just like going like this.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not expecting a blade of that size to perform that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's shocking for most people. I think most of the reviewers that have got it are always like, I thought it was kind of weird, but then I got it in hand and it was amazing. Or it felt much more comfortable than it looked in pictures. It's kind of unfortunate. I wish I could send them out to everybody before they bought them. But yeah, I did my best to make it as ergonomic as possible with still keeping that really extreme kind of visual presentation.
Well, I hope the Apex Pass Around group has helped you out. I saw that Eugene Kwan did one, JT did one. How did you get hooked up with us, by the way? Did you go through Blade Banter? Like, who introduced you to the group? Yeah,
so Eugene Kwan, I just kind of know from his videos, and we've kind of talked on Instagram, so I kind of sent him stuff a little separately. But I think it was Slicey Dicey that pointed me to Blade Banter and kind of the pass around group to get that going. But I have a few prototypes kind of floating around to different people. I think Knife Nuts Podcast was the latest person who just posted a little feature of it on his Instagram. But there's a surprising amount of reviewers, I think, right now within the kind of knife scene. So it's hard to get them to everybody.
How are things going, like Kickstarter wise? Is it like being pretty good?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. So it's only been live for, I think, a week at this point. So yesterday, Wednesday, would have been a week. And right now we're at 18% funded. So I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, man, we're going to try to do our best, dude. I'm definitely going to put in something for that. Damn, what was I going to ask? This is my third glass already right now. So have you thought about doing other podcasts aside from the Knife Junkie? Have you approached anyone else? I think you're a go-getter type of dude. You messaged me because you knew the knife was going to me next. And I got to tell you, man, that makes me feel good. You know, like I am a small content creator. I'm like I said this before, and it was like the title of one of my podcasts, I'm an amoeba. I am an amoeba swimming in this lake of all this big YouTube knife fish or whatever, knife YouTube fish, you know? And small creators like myself, when like the designer hits us up or like comments on a post or something like that, and it's actually you, like that makes a world of a difference. Like when you did that, I was like, I'm going to do everything I can to help this guy. I don't even think I had the knife yet. I don't even think I did. And I was like, I'm going to help him. Right. And then I got the knife in my hand and I was like, okay, I'm really going to help him now. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, in my position, I'm, doing my best to reach out to people just to give them a little bit of an explanation, especially like I said, since you're getting 2 knives, I kind of wanted to explain some of the difference. And, just make sure that if you had any questions, you could ask me, just because I'm trying to remain approachable throughout the process.
Did you know about my channel beforehand? Like, did you ever watch any of my shit, or were you just like this crazy jungle Asian guy is like wilding out in New York City?
No, yeah, I think it was a while ago, right? So Cedric and Ada had posted kind of a feature of like different reviewers, up and coming people to watch out for. And I know he mentioned your review of the Sanhedrin. You bought that knife that was
the Sandra knife.
Yeah.
Oh, the one about my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a sad one, bro. I mean, when you open up a video and the first line reads, people say you don't become a man until your father dies. Like, you get people's attention. Yo, but you know what's crazy is, like, I love making videos like that, but it wasn't a viable option for me, at least, because I am not a master, like, editor. You know what I'm saying? I'm, like, learning still. And that video took me, like, I don't know, like 2 months to make, just like thinking about it. Because I didn't go to schools for film. You know, that wasn't my world. I was DJing and producing music. That's why my videos always have music in it. You know, like I select the way it feels. When I do the unboxing, I have another earbud in this ear.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like doing everything on beat. I'm talking on beat just to make sure like the flow is good. That's my specialty. And I guess talking, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the level of thought that, people aren't really bringing to a lot of knife reviews these days. It's been a lot of the same, like, general tabletop reviews. So having someone like you who's not from the community in the same way that a lot of people are, I think it's really refreshing. So
dude,
that review really kind of stood out when I saw it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I know the Knife Junkie recently also did something just kind of talking about your podcast, and it kind of being one of his favorite things to watch recently. So I've definitely known about you for a little while.
That's awesome, man. Because I feel like, I was talking about this with my girl the other night, and I was like, I don't make any money from this, but like I don't care. Like it's like my favorite thing to do. It's like as soon as I got like I kept reminding my girl all day. I was like, yo, you know that we're not hanging out tonight, yo. To do this pod. And then the night before, remember when you asked me like when do you want to do the podcast? I told her, I was like, look, I'm gonna schedule it on Thursday because if I do 2 in a row, like you're gonna get upset, yo. Like, but I always tell her, I'm like, look, you want the crib, you want the babies, like this is the way. Like I gotta do this.
Oh yeah, you gotta make sacrifices.
Get huge, you know what I'm saying? Like Joe Rogan of EDC.
Yeah, I mean, there's not that many people that are thinking that way, so it's pretty cool. Yeah. Could you actually just give me like 1 second real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'll be right back.
All right. What's up,
All right,
dude?
sorry about that.
Just quick like bathroom break and shit.
Yeah, restocked on some beer. We're good to go.
Yeah, nice, man. So are you a beer drinker? Is that like your drink of choice?
Generally, yeah. I mean, I'm not super heavy on like hard liquor and stuff, but definitely enjoy the occasional beer.
Yeah, what's weird is like I used to love drinking beer, man. I remember like my best friend, like he would just come over with like a 36 pack and we would just play video games and just crush that whole thing. And you know, I have the Asian metabolism. He's a white dude, so like he gets it in the gut. And like me, I would never gain any weight. Like I'm an ectomorph, so like even though I work out every day, it's like doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way.
Yeah, dude. But you know, like when it got like into my mid 30s, I was like, oh, it shows a little bit. So I recently got into drinking whiskey, man, and I drink it neat. I drink it on the rocks when I'm out to save money because like it costs $20 a glass, and like I just want to sip on it. One of my viewers actually sent me a bottle of whiskey. Like I unboxed it this morning, and I'm like, holy shit, that's the benefits of having a channel, dude. Um, what reviewers do you like watching? I know you're in the knife community before you designed and, released this knife. Like, who do you like watching? What's your favorite guy?
Yes, I mean, I feel like I have to mention Nitch Designs. I feel like he was probably the person I've watched the most reviews from. And I've actually met up with him a couple times just to go over the design of the Ingress while it was still in prototyping phases. So he was giving me some really good feedback, and just generally, I feel like his channel does a really good job of, highlighting knives.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I think the most recent one I just discovered was Bearded Gear. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I had him on. I had him on. I had him on my podcast 2 days ago, and a viewer of mine, Lefty EDC, who like sent me all these knives this past week to just check out, which is, dude, I think that's so crazy that people just send me like a few $100 like packages and say like, hey, it's cool, like keep this and give me the rest back or whatever. I'm like, like, you don't even know me, but the knife community is so awesome in that way. And he told me about Bearded Gear. He was like, hey, I think you should do a podcast with this guy. And I've never heard of him. I watched one of his videos and I was like, this guy is going to make it. You know what I mean? Like, I just know he's only been doing YouTube for like less than 3 months. He posts multiple times a day. His concise way of describing the knives and just being thorough in his own way. Like, he's not a spec heavy guy. He's just telling you what he likes about it. It's very clear. And he's very personable on camera. And, I just feel like he's going to make it. What I learned about him, he was like, my wife is like a mommy blogger that's like mad huge.
Really?
So his wife does social media, like the mommy blog stuff, and he like helped her. And he's like, in the first couple of years, it was tough. But now it's like some months, like she rakes in more than me if I had a full-time job, like way more. And I was like, damn, that's why he's so dope. And he just got a new camera. Like, I'm really psyched for that guy. When I interviewed him, he only had 800 subscribers. He's over 1,000 now already. The dude is just gonna go, sir. That's the thing I feel about social media and content creation is like everyone's got their own journey. If I were to base the quality of my content with like the numbers compared to everyone else, like I would have given up a long fucking time ago. Yeah. But it's like it's something different that's not there, and I'm trying to bridge that gap, man. The anime nerds are gonna jump on board, the gamer geeks are gonna. I like knives too. That's what I do on my Twitter. Everyone that follows me is an anime or a Twitch streamer, and like they're like, oh shit, what is a knife? Like, I didn't even know there was this world of knives out there, and then this daily knife content thing, they're like, oh shit, this is so cool. I haven't done one for the Ingress yet. I'm gonna, dude.
Nice.
Do you go out a lot? Like, since it's quarantine, are you like out and about, or are you just you work from home, I assume, right?
Yeah, it's just working from home. I mean, sometimes we'll go like just for hiking or things. My sister likes to go off-roading with her Jeep, so we actually went camping, I want to say last month, just for a night or two.
Are you an outdoorsy kind of dude?
I mean, not as much as most, but it's nice to kind of spend some time outdoors, especially now that we can't really get out as much.
Yeah, it's weird, man. I've talked about this before, but I am a city dweller stuck in this concrete jungle that wishes he was in a jungle. You know what I mean? Like I watch hunting shows, I watch like all the survival stuff. And like even my girl, we're like watching Naked and Afraid, and we're like, yo, I could fucking do that. Like no, but I'm really into it. I mean, we looked up like, you know, how much it would cost for like a couple to go like hunting or something, right? Because like I would prefer to get my own meat than like buy it from like, you know, like the supermarket. Like I think that ethical hunting is like something that's like honorable if it's ethical, like you're actually going there. You know, I would rather do that and go to the supermarket. You know what I mean? And my girl like kind of agrees with that. She took me to a wild game restaurant like when on my birthday, and I was like really happy about that. But I've got this weird like fixation on outdoor stuff. Like, and I, you know, I can only go to Central Park, and it's like nature encapsulated. Have you been to New York, man?
Yeah, I've been once just a few years ago. It's kind of, yeah, it's an interesting place.
Where did you go? Like Manhattan?
Yeah, we went to Manhattan and to, I think, Coney Island. We were walking around for a bit, just kind of taking the train to a few places. I think we had like an Airbnb in the Bronx.
I live in the Bronx, but not probably not the Bronx where you stayed at. When you go outside, it's like Double Dragon, the video game. You know, there's people with chain. No, I was kidding. But it's pretty wild, bro. It's pretty wild. But I pay under $1,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment. So
yeah, that's
pretty,
really
yeah. Like I have, this is just my living room, you know, and we have another room, and it's pretty roomy. We don't live with anybody. It's just me and my girl. She's lived here for about 4 years. And when she was like, hey, man, this is how much my rent is, I was like, I'm moving in.
Oh, yeah, that's a good deal for sure.
Yeah, dude, it's freaking expensive out here, man. It's so expensive. Like a cheap meal is like $15. I'm like, what the fuck?
I think it's not that much better in LA. I feel like LA is still pretty expensive, even just to rent pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, but you guys have better looking places though. I feel like in New York City, it's like it's a closet. It's like $2,000, but you're not gonna be in all day. You're gonna go outside and explore the city. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, my friends are out in California right now. I toured out there when I was DJing.
Oh, nice.
And I played House of Blues. I played I forget, man. It was a while ago. And then I went to EDC in Las Vegas after that. It was like pretty wild. Are you into that scene? Like, what kind of music are you into?
Not as much that. I definitely have roommates that are like super big into going to festivals and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm kind of into weird, like just, I don't know, indie music, kind of folky stuff.
That's cool. That's cool. I'm into all of it, man. I'm Filipino. We're kind of just well versed in whatever sounds good to us. We don't pick a genre. You know what I mean? So like, you know, we've been on. We did like an hour. Right. Is there any closing comments that you'd like to make to the audience? You know, yeah, like, I guess that's what it is. Let's go with the closing comments.
Oh, yeah. I mean, generally just about the Ingress, I wish that, you know, people would kind of watch as many reviews as possible just to get the general idea that, you know, even if they're on the fence about it, for the price that it's at, I think they'd be hard pressed to find anything with better materials, better performance. I know that's kind of off-putting just visually, but there's a purpose to kind of everything going on with it.
Yeah, I think people should just keep an open mind. Listen, it has my stamp of approval. I mean, I know I always tell people like, don't trust me on this, but the general consensus on this knife is like, it's not what you expect it to be, and it's like really super dope. You know what I mean? You know, when I saw it, I was like, should I opt in the pass round to do this? Like, and I said, you know what? I like weird shit. I'm going to get into it. And then, dude, it's just absolutely amazing, man. I can't wait to see what you do next. And dude, thank you for doing the podcast, man. It was really amazing. I mean, it sucks that we had the little connection problems, and you're welcome to be on this podcast anytime you want. If you need to promote anything, if you want to do a last push on the Kickstarter, you can do this. Remember, this is circulated through all the podcast platforms, not just YouTube. And what I'm going to do after next week is chop up the podcast into bits and just spread it out on my stories. So I'm really going to push as hard as I can to help you out.
Nice. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
If you ever want to do, like you said, a round table or just have some designers on, I'm happy to jump on.
That's what I'm gonna do, man. Thank you for being on. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being on. That's too much of this, dude. Thanks for being on, Nick. This is your boy in the NYC. It's me, Ray, and this is the EDCCP saying peace.
Yo, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so we can squad up in the comments.